That's too much, man. You can put there in your friend.
Can you get another piece?
Alright, work. Alright. MartyMahomes, welcome to Lou Bricant. Inside stories of the SAFL, Southern Alumni Football League. You are the first guest. How do you feel about that?
Lou, it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to meet you. We've had this league around for, I want to say, I believe this might be the 7th year now.
Yeah.
And man, oh man, we have a lot of stories that have been told, a lot that haven't been told, and now having a full-time league reporter on the league is just a spectacular addition to the SAFL.
I appreciate that, MartyMahomes. It's my pleasure, though. Such a top-notch league with top-notch owners. Let's just get into it. What do you think about that?
Yeah, sounds good. I'm glad to be here. I'm ready to get this rolling.
All right, so let's just start it off. Marty, I can't help but mention this myself. I go back into, league history, and I find out, your top 3 all-time wins. Your top 3 all-time playoff wins. You have a championship. But bottom line, from where I'm sitting, the media, there's a little bit of disrespect. Any bit of that feeling on your end, does that matter to you?
Respect's not given, it's earned. I mean, that's a given. I do feel a lot of them, not a lot, I would say. There's a handful of members in the league that, put some, taint my name and, bring me down, where I think I've earned that respect. Respect isn't given, but, I got the championship last year, 2021. I have 3 finals appearances, and that's, more than a lot of people can say. I might be, if not, one of the all-time most, winningest. I'm most definitely up there in the top 3 with combined wins, I know, and for sure making deep playoff runs is in my genes, and getting the ring done, this was earned. I have the ring here.
Absolutely.
So, all said and done, I think I've earned that respect. That's not always given.
Yes, very, very much so, Marty. You're at the top of this league. There's no doubt about it. The statistics don't lie. We'll move on here. It's a similar topic here, and we're just going. Alternatively from success, we have a decent amount of unsuccessful clubs in this league.
Of course.
Do you believe in bad luck, or do you think that at this point it's a showcasing of bad, poor management?
Yes, there's only so much luck one person can have. They say habits tend to repeat themselves, and when you see some of the league members, no names need to be given specifically, but when you see over time these teams that have struggled, showing very little playoff success, very little playoff experience. It goes back to the front office ownership. There's only so much blame you can put on your players. The whole injury bug situation. Listen, I've this season I had my fair share of injuries. There's no question about it. Every team goes through it. That doesn't disregard me from my early playoff exit. It's not what I had on my mind this season. I started off very strong. Did not end the way I had hoped, but as good, successful owners do, they tend to find their way into the playoffs, which is one of the most important feats to accomplish each year. Can't win without making the playoffs, so that's that. But in regard to some of the trends we've seen, I can see a tier system of owners in this league. And there's definitely a separate tier for some of the higher owners like myself.
And as yourself now, a champion, part of the champion club. You weren't always a champion. 2016, 2017, 18, 19, 20. I mean, tough years. Years of, as you put it to me, as we've spoken before, failure in your eyes. It's championship or bust for you always. These were tough times for you. These were tough times. Did you ever think about giving up? Did you ever think about giving up? We'll start with that.
Well, Lou, to be honest, the idea of retirement has always crossed my mind. Know your specifics, but this is a strenuous league. It's 24/7. You need constant effort put in to get out what you want. You're not going to win if you don't put in the time. If you're just going to, squeeze by and try to, get through the drafts in a breeze and just, put it up to fate, you're not going to do anything.
That's like preparation.
Preparation is extremely important. And in regard to the question, I've contemplated retiring on different occasions. Example, my 2018 season. A lot of people forget about that. I believe it was my 2018 season. It might have been the 2017 season, but I started the season 1-6, and people thought I was done. People thought I was dusted, and I wasn't ready to give up. So I ran the table, made the playoffs 7-6, and actually upset the then 13-0 1 seed that year, and made it to the finals. One of my first of 3 finals appearances. And after losing the first 2, this kind of guilt and overwhelming sensation comes over you. Like, I can't lose again. What are people going to say to me? Especially, last year when I made it 0-2 in the finals. I make it again. I can't go 0-3. There's no way. You can't go 0-3 and get out of it.
You mentioned guilt. Do you feel guilt because, whether it be drafting, trading, roster building, or do you just feel like you're letting your team down?
I would say some moves I've made in the past, I've let myself down, my family down, let my teammates down. Listen, every move you make is not going to be the best one. You make good moves, you make bad moves. A recent example, I made a poor move over time. Caught up to me was my lack of flossing. Unfortunately, I had the diagnosis today of gingivitis. Was not expecting to hear that. And, from my point of view here, wasn't the bbest news to hear today. It really threw me out for a loop.
Yeah, on the day of the interview, nonetheless.
Of course, yeah, nonetheless.
We're going to touch on that again in a little bit, if you don't mind. Maybe delve a little deeper in there. But for now, I think a lot of your fans want to hear about that. You headed into 2021. Did you make any changes? Draft strategy, roster build. Did you think you were going to be traded out? What did you go into 2021 with?
We had the rebound of the keepers. I kept the same keepers from the year before. Hence my team name, Calvin and the Chubmonks that year. We had Calvin Ridley and Nick Chubb, who's been one of the most tenured players on a team in this league's history. And going into that draft, I felt confident with the keepers I had, and trading up for an important piece of that championship run. Of course, Travis Kelce. Some people still question it to this day, taking a tight end that early in the draft, but it ended up working out for me. And from there we built through a lot of depth players and kind of a money ball kind of aspect arranging the team, especially at that trade deadline that year.
2021. When I say that, I have to imagine that brings you some joy. A year that I assume, when it's all said and done, you're lying on your deathbed. You're going to be thinking back. It's your first. Everybody remembers their first, right? It means a little bit something more, right?
In anything, yeah.
What did it mean to you?
I mean, winning that first title was just something special. It's just an indescribable feeling when you do it the right way. And, we'll get into that later. But when you win in the right way, in the right fashion, it just, you can go to bed at night knowing I'm a champion. Okay, I won. I did it. And not everyone can say that. There's plenty of losers in this league. Two, losers in the fact that they haven't won, also losers, but they haven't proven anything. And the hate is, I think it's not warranted for myself, my players, and my franchise.
Right on that. I wanna jump right on that. The haters. When you're on the top, they're always gonna be there. You're always gonna have the haters. Some people, they don't know how to deal with this. What are the doubters? What does that do to you? Did it affect you in the beginning at all? And alongside that, you can answer that first. But then we're gonna move into something about those doubters, if you don't mind. I think you might know where I'm going with that, but you could start up there.
I have an idea, but okay. Yeah, so with the doubters, remind me with that first part you wanted me to kind of go into.
When you're on the top, the haters. Did you deal with it properly? Did you feel like it doesn't even matter to me? I'm a champ. Because at the time, I believe if I have this correctly, owner Devin Connell had mentioned something sort of a Mickey Mouse championship.
Yeah, and even before my championship run, my lack of success in the championship game, those 2 years, really, it's not easy to get over that. It's really not. I mean, you got to go into the mindset of, I made it here, I made it to the finals, one game, win or go home. Get it done, or you may not be back for a while. You don't know when the next time you'll be back. And losing the second one, man, the haters were coming at me, and they called me the many names, like the Buffalo Bills and teams that have made the finals consistently but just can't get it done. And even after my victorious season, 2021, the haters came out, didn't appreciate that season, the team I put together, my playoff success, and ultimately referred to my title as like you said, a Mickey Mouse championship. Very unwarranted. I don't know where or how that came from. And to be blatant, I would say all the champions up to this season have, done it the right way.
Wow. We'll get to that we'll touch on that in a second. Amongst the doubters, the haters, there were also some serious allegations. Do you want to touch on that? Do you want to tell us about maybe a little bit about some ZD?
Yes, so I do know what you're referring to in this situation regarding these allegations brought up on me, and this was.
So can you explain to us the ZD?
These allegations came up with my time, I believe it was the 2 seasons or so I had with Mr. Calvin Ridley, and now member of the Herb Your Enthusiasm organization, where safe to say they're on some they have some debate on their end of winning this year as well. We'll get into that. But anyway, my time with Calvin Ridley. Listen, I'll get to it. Try to keep it under the bus. I knew he was. I know he was skeptical player with how he handled his business. You know, it all came to light the past year, but, you know, wholeheartedly I wanted to keep him on that team for what he had done, not what he had become. And once the season had ended and I was fully aware of everything he had done, which led to his full year suspension this year, I decided to win my championship, and you know, I figured I'd let him sail into the sunset, going out as a champion, figuring he wouldn't be rostered by another team. But you know, as the story goes, you know, cheaters like other cheaters, so he linked up with another team this season, and they happened to win a championship. But going back to the ZD, I know I've got off a little bit of a tangent. There were owners who had initiated that, per se. The ZD talk was never initiated on my end. Always regarding Mr. Ridley and his involvements with, you know.
Are there any owners specifically that you'd like to mention at this point?
There were a few. To guess give them up. Mr. Matthew Popwitz was one of the first involvements with the ZD. Again, nothing was initiated on my end, but you know, and I believe a trade did happen to go through while his time as a co-commissioner in the league. But put that all aside. This was just a mock trade. You know, flawlessly executed, but just it's a mock trade. And going to that, there was another owner, Mr. Devin Connell, who was also reached out to me regarding the ZD with Calvin Ridley. Players would be offering me this Italian cuisine in return for the talents of the player when he was on the top of his game.
I see.
And as I knew these allegations were going to come out against Ridley rather sooner than later, against my moral, against, you know, what could have helped me out with moral judgment, I decided to not engage in those actions where people then got upset and then decided to deflect the blame on me, where I was actually the victim. So it feels good to finally speak up against that, and you know, of course, the third and final team involved was, of course, this year's champion, Hudak and Rocco Cipriano.
So
champion, I put that in.
Yeah, there's ongoing investigations. Yeah, I know. Thank you for even mentioning some of the names here today and going into depth on it. You know, we won't touch on it any further, but I assume we'll have to talk to you again after, you know, the revelations are made in the coming months. You know, we talk about highs, we talk about where you're on top. It's only right. We talk about 2022. Marty, I've looked at your body language since you got here. The wound is still fresh. You wanted to go back to back. Simply put, what happened?
That was my goal. Yeah, Lou, that was my goal coming into the season. I thought I killed the draft. I was very happy with my team and then my team's production to start the season on 5-1, first place for a large portion of the year, or at least the first half of the season. Led in points for a majority of the year, and then the production started to slow down a little bit from some of the guys. And looking at some of the players, you know, what's the reasoning for that? Was it a sophomore slump in a sense where a lot of these players had returned from my 2021 championship season, and bringing that core back together, I felt confident in their ability to replicate that. But, you know, the injuries started, and, you know, with a newcomer, Marquise Brown, which was leading up to, he was having a fantastic start with the year with my quarterback, Kyler Murray, at the time. And then the trade happened. The trade that many people talk about, where I knew I had to talk about this at some point. But, in the off season, as you know, Lou, I acquired very sought out keeper Amon-Ra St. Brown as a very late round keeper. Very talented, very valuable for that draft selection for years to come. I knew I hit a home run with it. And then some of the teams started to get hurt. I lost Zach Ertz as well, my backup tight end. Week 1, even going back further, I lost my starting flex option, Elijah Mitchell. So at that point, I'm down 2 flex options, my wide receiver 2 at the time, and then Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb was performing well. Joe Mixon was very up and down. And looking at my overall team depth, I knew I had a very, very big weakness in this department where I had guys coming up on bye. And just, I had to do something. I didn't know what I had to do, but I had to do something. And, owner Vincent Perry came to me with at the time, I thought very lucrative deal where I would be trading away St. Brown and his keeper years to come. But I envisioned the haul I was getting, the 3-for-1, that these receivers, I was hoping, would stay at their level or even improve. And did not come to fruition. Amon-Ra St. Brown continued to be successful this year. While I am happy with DJ Moore's playoff performance, which I was aiming at getting a solid playoff receiver with Marquise Brown's eventual return, injuries just diminished my season with Kyler Murray going down, and the rest is that.
Well, it happens. Nobody's done it before. There's a reason. There's a reason. You talk about that trade there, and there was recent news that the coach that you had made that deal with, Vincent Perry, now fired. He was known for good trades, but he was a little bit skeptical here and there. This is roster decisions, this and that. There was a mention previously. He was known for seduction tactics and trades. Did he use this on you, or was this just a lack of judgment on your part?
I would say he's a very convincing. He's still around. Maybe he'll get hired by another team, but he's a very convincing individual, to say the least. He wants something, he'll get it. There's no doubt about it. I wasn't even actively shopping St. Brown, to say the least, to begin with. But he made a solid pitch as to why I should do the deal. He knew I was looking for depth and drew it out for me. Initially it wasn't that offer, but I had to work for that offer, which, again, at the time I thought I was getting a large haul back for, Mr. St. Brown's services to Vincent Perry.
All right, we've talked about the trade enough. You don't want to lose this anymore. So I'd rather, let's play a little game, okay? I just,
Sorry, 1 second. I think it's, yeah, of course. Sorry, apologize. We can continue going here.
Okay.
With the diagnosis, I have to
get
some of the,
just three words come to your mind. Well, I'm going to name a few names, a few things here. Just 3 words, 2 words, whatever. What comes to your mind? Travis Kelce.
league winner.
Okay. Nick Chubb.
Reliable and leader.
Garrett Wilson.
A lot to prove. A lot is one word in this scenario.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I'd say, nothing against him. He's early bloomer, late shiner.
Cortland Sutton.
Bum. No draft list.
Daniel Blake.
Daniel Blake is... We'll call him David in the David and Goliath story.
Nicholas Tomiello.
Fraudulent.
Nicholas Hudak.
Dynasty oriented. Nicholas Hudak. Asterix.
Rocco Cipriano.
Asterix.
Any other further opinions on those two personally?
Well, listen, I'll keep it short and sweet. There's a reason he was impeached as his commissioner duties, and it just so happens that the year he wants to step down voluntarily, he was impeached prior, but he intended on voluntarily stepping down.
It's like a coach.
They happened to win this year, which maybe the reason he stepped down was he didn't want a lot of the news of how he won to come around and as acting commissioner.
So at this point, would you like to comment on the championship, or do you think you've said enough? You don't want to be interrogated on this, and have you said your piece on this?
I'll leave it at this. I think it's very important. Are they this year's champion? Sure. Okay. Sure. Does this year's champion warrant a type of, symbol notification on the nameplate? This sacred trophy that's been, passed around to winners.
Yes.
Done it the right way. Do they deserve a type of notation on their plaque? I believe so. That signals it was different. And I think that should be put up to a league vote without discussion. And as the league rules it, I'll see it fit. And I'm very, pro vote, as Nicholas Hudak was not a fan of the league vote, more of a...
So I could see you're a little bit more of a fan of the new commissioners in that sense?
Very much so, where they voice the opinions of the league members, whereas, Mr. Hudak had a very dictatorship-style approach of running things, which works only not really well, but only in a handful of countries is that even still used.
Let me get that for your chin a little further here.
Alright.
Good to go, you sure?
Yeah. Yep.
So listen. Listen, Marty, this is big bucks, okay? This is my job. It's nothing personal.
Okay, Lou.
I gotta bring up some difficult stuff. I refrained from reporting on this when I first heard of this revelation that this was going on behind the scenes. I'm sure you're more than aware. The SAFL PA, the Southern Alumni Football Players Association, for those that aren't aware, have been investigating your health. A little bit similar to Tua Tagovailoa situation. They've wondered if you're in the right frame of mind for a few reasons, if you don't mind me touching on.
Continue.
Marty, 60 pounds since the league began in 2016. And not today. Self-reported gingivitis. Is this a case of you testing your limits as a man? Is it part of the league stresses? We'll get to the next part, but that was a little pack there.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how you're digesting that.
Is that a fat joke? Digesting? Huh? You want to get personal with me, Lou?
Hey, I didn't bring the Ghirardelli chocolates over here.
Oh yeah, like I didn't notice them chocolates. Is how I like them, huh? With caramel and mint. You're lucky I don't stick them in the freezer right now. But no, all jokes aside, Lou. The weight has been a problem. And looking at it, actually 65 pounds since the league has started.
Interesting.
If we're accurately descripting
I had that wrong. Huh?
But the weight can be attributed to a lot of different reasons. I was a champion last year. Even last year, I was more of a slim fit. But over the years, I have gained weight, and part of the stress is definitely a big part of it, and hence why I've looked into retiring so many times, because at this rate, I'll continue to gain weight, and once to say I'll hit 300 pounds, once to say I'll hit 400 pounds.
Do you speak to doctors on this? Are you your own, what's the situation?
It's just, my own doctor, my own self-diagnosis. Pants no longer fit me. I have to buy new pants. New jacket. It's a nice jacket.
At the same time, you land on a hanger coat here. Beautiful.
This coat, yeah. It's very nice, but again, it's one of the only few coats that still fits my body. And who's to say this won't fit me next year? Who knows? But I've discussed with close friends and allies of myself, and I figure the off season's going to be not only player evaluation and draft strategy, but a focus on my personal physical appearance that could lead to and going off the health there, Lou. Actually, didn't really make light of this until maybe I brought it up briefly, but during the trade deadline this past season, I did have COVID, so this somewhat impacted my ability to make trades. As a overall relatively quiet trade deadline, but at the same time, I'm usually one to make some sort of move, or the St. Brown trade was the only trade I made this year.
Would you like to touch on the gingivitis, or too soon in the
We can talk about the gingivitis very soon. There's not much I know about it. I really just wasn't expecting it. Thankfully, Lou had provided me with a gingivitis kit upon arrival here. I have my Oral-B toothbrush with Crest toothpaste, and then, of course, most importantly, which the doctors say, is, of course, the floss. This is the most important aspect of it.
And not one of these flosses, right?
They go along with, of course, the Listerine Ultra Clean. Not sponsored, but this was recommended. Lou provided.
Big boy.
It's
you self-reported it. I assume you'll keep everybody updated. Along time. So
very new, and I don't know many other people who have this illness. So it's gonna be an experience for me getting through this, and I'll document it, updates as I know along the way. But very new still, and hopefully this doesn't take a toll on my health to go along with the weight gain.
You touched on this just a moment ago. Does it bother you at all? This investigation was only initiated, after your third or fourth bout with COVID?
Yes, so Lou, diagnosed 3 times. It could be more, I don't know. But on the record, 3 times has been the number. Again, don't know many people who have had COVID that many times. Could be for a wide factor of reasons. Don't know specifically why, but tends to hit people differently, and I just take that as a challenge.
Yes, that's what I assumed. Yeah.
With the third diagnosis happening, concurrently with the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Man, what a rough time to get.
Yeah,
That really set me up, and unfortunately wasn't able to get across that hump this year. But maybe the fourth or by the fifth time I get it, even sixth time, who knows? I welcome it again on the trade deadline because I know how to handle it this year.
Okay. We'll move on. There's maybe one more serious question I have here. This is more of a symbolic question than an actuality. Are you lost?
Wow. I was not expecting that question.
No.
Wow. What curveball here, Lou. Wow. Is there even a way to define lost? Like when you're lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, this is just a very brief, on the surface example.
Yeah.
You're lost. You're driving somewhere. You're lost, or you're lost in the woods, even, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if you knew why you were lost, you wouldn't be lost.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
Right? How would someone be lost if they knew why they were lost?
That's true.
Oh, you make a right on Smith Street, or 100 yards past the oak tree, you're out of the woods. So, being lost, how would I even know if I'm lost?
Yeah, that's true.
Am I lost?
Yeah, okay.
I could be. I think lost is just an abstract thought of not found.
Oh boy, okay.
Because you can continue to grow while you're also trying to not be lost, if that makes sense.
It doesn't. So I think that answer speaks for itself. We'll move on, alright?
Would you have any rebuttal to that?
I'll leave my personal bias out of this. Okay. So we'll move on, lighter stuff. Okay? We got you can breathe a little bit, okay?
Alright.
Take a sip if you need. This is inside scoop. We're lubed up, okay? We're all lubed up.
We're lubed up? Okay.
Yeah. The fans, they want to know some stuff about you, okay?
Sure. Are these all anonymous letters, or?
Some are anonymous, and a couple, some of these have been in my mailbox. So I'm just gonna, what do you do in your free time outside of the league? Free time outside of the league.
Okay. Good question. Being unemployed or voluntarily unemployed, you do have a lot of free time on your hands, and you look to challenge yourselves in different ways. Outside of the league, I look to, I like nature. I like taking walks outside. Snow, we haven't had much snow yet, but it's always enjoyable to, shovel snow.
So no job right now looking, or, are you...
We're looking at a pace, and, hopefully something will come about, and look to put that, of course, next to my other job as a league owner in this SAFL.
Do you have a significant other, girlfriend, boyfriend?
No, not at the moment. This baby right here was my significant other for a good part of the past 22 years.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if I'm giving her up yet or not. We're still unsure about what's to happen with the trophy mistress here. And, I don't know, we'll see.
No.
I earned this trophy.
Where you reside now?
I earned it. I earned it.
All right.
And I don't think I earned it. Let me keep it.
No. That's the ginger way that's just getting to your head. Alright, it's all around here.
You said these were fun questions.
Where you currently reside in South Carolina?
North, south, east, west.
Florida, maybe?
Somewhere in
Georgia?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Okay. And, I had to bring this up. Have you been to Kentucky?
Oh boy. Was this an anonymous question?
Anonymous.
Of course. Okay.
Have you been to Kentucky?
I wish this rumor would be laid to rest.
And here's your moment.
I've been to Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky's neighboring state.
Mm-hmm.
I have never in my life been to the state of Kentucky.
You know any
Not even for the proclaimed rumor of my trip to a Waffle House in the state of Kentucky, where probably anywhere within a 5-10 mile radius where I live, you could find a Waffle House readily available to sit down and eat. So why would I drive?
Has anybody from Kentucky traveled to you to have Waffle House?
No.
What about anybody?
I've never interacted with any individual.
What about anybody from
the state
another
of Kentucky?
question? Anybody from Virginia?
That one I'll leave open to interpretation.
Okay. And we'll move on. How's your time been with the trophy? You just mentioned it. How has it been? Do you have any lasting plans? Or will you just want to skip that right now?
I haven't thought of that, to be honest. Maybe
we'll skip
one more night out, crazy night out. That I won't get into details with, but champions deserve to treat themselves right with that. That's awesome.
So then, we had a few questions from a few fans who want an opportunity to ask whatever they would like.
Okay.
So I just got them in now.
Okay.
Thank you, number one. So you think you're tough? You think you're a tough guy?
That's the question. Is there anything else with that, Lou?
That's the question.
So, can you repeat that with the phrasing?
So, you think you're tough? Yeah, you think you're a tough guy?
Question mark. Yes. I've assembled the weight to attribute myself to being a quote-unquote tough guy.
Yeah.
And, any tough guy, let me rephrase it. You can't be a champion without being a tough guy.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, you get rattled. You get your feathers fluffed up, right?
Yeah.
But you can't let that get to you. If you're a tough guy, brush it off your shoulder. Look at these shoulders. You brush them off your broad shoulders.
Yeah.
And you palm the trophy.
Yeah.
And you say hike.
Yeah.
360 of the coat for the...
Yeah, let's get a 360 of your coat here.
Okay.
I'll see if they get, the lighting's a little...
Okay. So, if you take a look at the back here.
Yeah.
How would you describe this interior coat?
It looks and feels majestic.
Do you think they can see it? I think they have they're probably a good idea.
Don't understand.
And honestly, I wake up in the morning in this coat, and it gets me through the day. So
that's good, because one of the questions was tell me about this overcoat. So this is perfect. Yeah. Oh boy. No. Leave the chocolates, sir. Oh.
I'll just leave it here for you.
Okay. Last fan question here. This is an interesting one. Okay. Would Twitter just be Yahoo if it had a male component?
Wow. That's tough. I'm not super overly familiar with Yahoo, but from what I know, it did rival Twitter at a point. With the mail component, you're referring to an email, correct? So if Twitter had an email, how would Twitter have an email? I'm trying to wrap my head around it, I guess. Yes and no. Yahoo, for what it's worth,
both have news,
weather,
DMs, IMs,
IMs, weather, local in the 8s, 7-day, 10-day forecasts.
Yeah.
So you can make the argument for it for sure. You can make the argument for it.
And on with this. Actually, we'll do 2 here. You got any playoff prediction? Quick, rip them off. Anything good for us?
Playoff prediction?
Yeah, playoff prediction.
Such as
NFL playoffs.
The NFL season. Well, I am repping the 87 Kansas City. Last time I wore this did not end well for me, to say the least. We'll hold off on the details with that, but fights are almost caused, and I don't want to get into it. I'm a tough guy, but I don't want to act like it, whatever. I like the Chiefs. First round bye does help them out a lot.
Yes, indeed.
The Bengals. The Bengals stay hot. I think they get it done against Baltimore, I believe, and then after that, I think they would play. Unless the Bills get upset, I think they would continue against the Chiefs, where I think the winner of that game will be the AFC representative in the Super Bowl this year.
Huh?
NFC wise, it's pretty open with a lot of teams there. Eagles are looking good still. They're getting a lot of their players back injured. So looking at it,
Eagles Chiefs. Is that what you're going with? There you go. Gut reaction.
I do like that situation. I don't think the Vikings are made for the playoffs like that. Dallas is, Dallas. Dallas is Dallas. Dallas. But Eagles, Chiefs. That's what I think.
Yeah. And final question for you. Heading into 2023, fantasy league. Draft targets, rookie evals. Who do you see as a threat? Well, tell me what you got.
Well,
predictions?
Yes. Well, I am. This has been rumored. I am planning on keeping Mr. Garrett Wilson of the New York Jets professional team as my keeper this year. I think he had a great initial season, his rookie season with my franchise, and I don't see why to move on from him. So we'll continue on with him for the next season. And so right now, I've been in talks with Mr. Chubb, his agent, and it's not sitting with him well last year. It's really not. He won last year in 21. He made some other finals runs with me, and he gave me the text earlier today. He said, I got one more left in me.
Wow.
And he's been my captain. I'd like to give him that decision. Whether or not this stays finalized throughout the offseason, it's yet to be said. But he's had his best fantasy football season on paper. You can look at the numbers. RB6 on the season. By far his best season. And his counterpart is no longer going to be with the organization anymore. So I see a lot of time freed up for him. And I would like to give him that opportunity to get one more done. So we'll leave it at that.
And any predictions? Anybody that you see as a threat? Anybody that you think is going to really poop the bed?
Owner-wise, player-wise, both?
Owner-wise. We'll stick team-wise.
Okay, owner-wise. The keeper talk has been pretty brief, to say the least, so far. A couple teams have announced their keepers. Also players that are obvious keepers. Unfortunately, I think Mr. Ruthberg might be past his window. Does he get another chance? I mean, it's tough losing 2 in a row. One of my, we'll put that softly. He did lose in 21. This year, it's speculation. There's really no way to tell. But I think he's going to continue with the same keepers he's had, and he's got to form that team again. It's going to be tough. A lot of players leaving in free agency. So, a lot of teams need to prove themselves, too. I know Mr. Blake has seen his struggles. Another lottery finish for him. won the lottery, the losers bracket this year. Not something I'm not super familiar with. I think I've only been in there maybe one time, but of course, did not lose. And a lot like Mr. Connell as well. He's got a lot to prove himself. He's got, I think, maybe one finals appearance in 7 years. That's not going to get it done. That's not getting it done.
And the only other two nons now are Baron Valenti and Nicholas Samiela.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't believe either has made the finals. And Mr. Valenti, of course, went against a tough opponent in the semifinals. Hat tip to him. He had the better team this part of the year in mind. But they talk a lot, but they have a lot to prove. I got it done. I earned it. So people that talk but haven't gotten it done the right way, their trash talk, their credibility is lower than others. So.
All right, we've hit our time here. It's been a pleasure. I'll give you a minute here. Plug anything you want to plug. Go for it. What do you got for a minute?
Listen, 87 man. You've been a dog for me. You've been a good person, but it's tough, man. He's going lotto this year. It's tough. He's going top 4, and do I have the assets to move up this year? I don't know. We've discussed Mr. Kelsey. He appreciates the time and everything that we've put in with each other, but he moves around. He plays with other people as well, so it's going to be very sad and hard to envision him coming back, as much as I would love to welcome him back as a very successful player. No harm done, as he retired his jersey, but moving along, Mega Man Mixon, it's been a pleasure. Wish you nothing but the best. And listen, you don't think I'm tough? I'm going to show you I'm tough. See this chocolate?
Oh, boy.
I'm going to shove it up my ass.
This has been your first edition of Lubed Up with your league reporter, Lou Bricant. We'll see you again hopefully next week. If not, we'll see you later in the off season. Good luck in 2023, folks. Good luck, MartyMahomes.